Titus. Can you hear me? I see you. Can't hear you.
You there?
Yeah, there we are.
Hey.
Brother in outrage.
It's what?
Brother in outrage.
And it's I actually was so jealous when you said James Woods blocked you. I was like, damn it, because I wanted to check if I was blocked yet. So I cranked up my James Woods level, going for the block. I'm going for the block on Woods. We should just make it a game with a-hole right wingers.
Well, wait a minute. So if you're trying to get blocked, but he's not blocking you, then he's kind of
digging it.
He's he's not cock blocking you. He's blocking you.
Fuckers blocking me, and that is so James Woods.
So fucking so him. You know, really, just FYI, because we haven't talked actually about this since this all went down. But oh, by the way, this is what's happening right here, just so you can see.
Hey, yeah, that's dead.
Here's the thing, and you and I might differ on this, okay? I have several times on Twitter said, look, just because I totally disagree with everything that I've ever seen James Woods tweet doesn't mean that I don't still think he was an incredible actor. He did some stuff I thought was incredible. Like, he's a really talented guy. I met him a couple times 20 years ago. He was gracious and kind and very nice. The fact that he spews what he spews has nothing to do with me. I don't care what he says. I don't it doesn't affect me.
Right.
It's that in reverse, it seems to it seems to be lost on most people. So that
it's
so
weird,
if I
man.
have an opinion on Twitter, they now are going to go like, well, I'm never going to listen to your music again, which tells me I need to know about it. And or two, that my opinion about something affects them so much that they need to let me know that. It's just bizarre. And by the way, I never insulted James Woods. I never ever insulted James Woods. I mocked the fact that people will come at you and me and many people in the entertainment business and say, I don't give a shit about anything you say. And then you look at their accounts and they're retweeting James Woods and Scott Baio. And I never insulted those people. I wouldn't. I was mocking hypocrisy.
Isn't it funny that they complain about, oh, you celebrities, which, by the way, low level bottom feeders. You 30 million record bottom feed. By the way, how the fuck does your hair look better during the apocalypse? Don't even does. Just shut up, man. It's disgusting. So that being said, is that all these guys are like, you celebrities don't have any opinion. Well, my opinion obviously seems to affect you quite a bit. You seem to be quite upset by it. I'm not upset by yours at all, guy with 9 followers.
One of my new favorite things is, and I've seen you do it too, which is, and you don't even have to be insulting. I get those comments and I'll go, and yet here you are on my Twitter feed. So
yeah. One of us follows the other one. You figure out which one, dude. Yeah.
Now, one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, which I find interesting, and it makes total sense to me, but I thought we should have a little chat about it. A lot of people who, actually I've had people say, I listen to a totally different kind of music, and so I was not really aware of, what you were up to musically, but I love you on Twitter, or I follow you on Twitter. If they came to my show, I would hope that they would enjoy the show musically, but if they're coming to my show hoping to get a live version of what I do on Twitter, they're going to be sorely disappointed. I'm never political on stage. I never say anything political on stage, because for me, and for the people that come to see me and pay to see me perform, me, that's not the time or place. You and some other comedian friends of mine, that's a big part of, it's not only who you really are, and that shows up on Twitter, but it's also a big part of who you are as a performer. And I'm finding that whereas I would expect and hope that you would be this same guy that you are on Twitter on stage, I find that I'm a little bit of a disadvantage because I'm not that guy on stage.
I think this, if you look at all the shows I've done, this will be my 9th special. They go personal, social, political, personal, social, political, personal, because I need the world, usually some horrible thing happens in the world that I can write about. after I've already told about my horrible personal life. So then I need that year. I need that 2 years of development on the social political bit for some new nightmare to happen in my personal life to write the next show. So, and do you find that with your albums? Do you always try to do it like, do you find that you actually bounce back and forth between different, not even genres, man? Your music, it seems you can do anything, but like, have you ever done a concept album?
No, because
No.
I'm challenged by the idea that, but I have a feeling I would get bored because so every album I've ever made, one of the things that I love about, like every time I make an album, especially the last one, the latest one, I always say,
Good album, by the way, good album.
oh, thanks, man. You've been so kind to me publicly about that album. But I'm
Well,
always
the first single. Let me just say something about that album. When that first, listen, I was there. I was 21 or 22. You were 21 or 23, maybe. And I saw you. Kenny Loggins took us to that concert. We've talked about this before. And I watched you dance on a piano. And I remember, and you had that mullet that this literally. I think you killed mullet. You know, you killed mullets because no one could keep up with you. Everyone's like, nah, man, we're done. Even the Dukes of Hazzard boys were like, we can't mullets. Marx owns it. They wanted to change the name to the Richard Marx. But I remember thinking way back then, I was the opening act for Kenny Loggins, and you were like headlining shows all over the country. And I remember thinking, fuck this guy. Performer envy, but that's not the point. But I remember thinking that you get people's peak, you know, and Elvis had a peak, and then although A Long Black Limousine, he came out and that he says that was his most creative time. When that first single of this new album came out, I was like, oh, you're not even fucking close to done. That's what I thought when I heard it. It was that good.
Thank you.
I know Harry Styles played it and went, I don't believe it. Fuck, it's quite good. Shit.
I love the Harry Styles record, by the way. That's very, very sweet of you to say, and I appreciate it. And but the answer to your question, and we're going back and forth, is the concept album to me never appealed to me too much because I love variety. I love so many different kinds of music, and I love doing all different kinds of music on every album. So maybe there was a lyrical concept or a thematic concept that allowed me to, you know, mix musical genres. That might be a really fun thing for me to do. But, you know, here's the other question. You have drawn so much, and this is something else that we probably have in common creatively in terms of our creation, but you have historically drawn so much from anger and pain, especially in your personal life. But now, for years now, you're like, you've got like both of us, we have the greatest lives, and we're happy in our, at least I feel like you're as happy as I am. I mean, like, we're so lucky that I used to draw so much on pain and longing and frustration. And so it's a little bit like I have to kind of like put myself back in a more unhappy place to be more creative. And I wonder how much routine can you do about like how awesome your wife is?
Man, you're just funny. She's a comic too, so she is awesome. I keep thinking about this with you specifically, that we both ended up with these women that are like, she calls it Alpha Chick. Her new show is coming out called Alpha Chick, where it's just these peak women that they're competent, they're confident, they're funny, they're sexy, they're feminine, and they will still take you down. And a lot of guys, I think that anger, I think they like, there's a tiny bit, and she's listening to me upstairs right now, so I know she's going to say something later. But
me too.
That little bit of psycho, they need that too.
Oh, she just went like this. She had her back and she went like this.
Exactly. It's like, hey babe, do you like that I have a little bit of psycho? She quote, I love it. And she said it's sexy. She said it in that voice.
Yeah, she looked at me. She said, "We got to get the girls together." By the way.
Yeah. Well, great restaurant. We're gonna go to Mikado when this is over, when the COVID has died down.
Or we could meet tonight at our favorite, the Quarantine Bistro.
Yeah. We're gonna get shirts made for the website that just say guillotine 2020. And on the back it said it's time to cut the shit, because it's time to get rid of all these guys. Okay, yeah. And then we want to do. Ray wants to do this is Q and it's circle slash and then it says quarantine. Q quarantine.
No,
So that was her idea.
How do you get personal when you're happy?
It's weird, man. I learned a long time ago that everything is past based. Who you are as a human being is all based in some shit you did when you were 5. Between 5, there's all these. I did a single landmark form. There's 3 places in your life where you kind of realized life wasn't right. When you were a little kid, you were born perfect, and you were like, "Wee, everything's great." And then some adult stomped your face, and you were like, "Oh, I better act this way so I don't get my face stomped." That usually happens about 5. Then around 10, 11, you start to realize, oh, I'm kind of on my own. 7th grade dance, we all got told no by the girls. So that's when a little bit more callous builds around your heart. And then about 15, 16, between 15 and 18, you realize, oh, I'm on my own. And so I always find a way to go back to the absurdity of that. Like I always find a way. This new show, Carrying Monsters, is all about those monsters that people give you throughout your life. And then you just keep them. You're like, okay, this is how I'm going to react to people all the time. So I wrote this show specifically, Carrying Monsters, to kind of deal with that. I was kind of freaking out. We're putting out a new comedy special every week. Not a new one, but one that I've already done for free, because everyone's going through this nightmare too. And without them, we don't have a job. So I'm like, you guys have paid to see me for a long time. Yep. Here's free stuff for it. I want to kind of deal with that, to kind of give everybody. I always try to write something that gives people some sort of darkness, take them through the darkest place, and then a little hope at the end. Because deep down, I'm just Gandhi. Deep down.
You just what?
Gandhi. Deep down, I'm Gandhi.
I sensed that about you from the minute I met you. He's really, in fact, my takeaway was, I think deep down he's really Gandhi.
Yeah, as you left. That's exactly. Yeah, no one's ever thought that about me. But so diving into the personal stuff is no problem for me. I find the absurdity of humanity pretty ridiculous. And I got to be honest with you, with this going on right now, to everybody in California, great job, man. You see these other states like Florida continue to be Florida. Yeah. And all these other states, Arizona's still going out there, still going to restaurants and stuff. And as I say before, I see dead people. You guys got to stop. If you don't stop, this is going to continue. But California seems to be pretty good, except for Brentwood. Rich people seem to think that the virus only likes poor people.
Yeah. Well, the thing we saw in Brentwood was definitely alarming. But here's the question, because I got really pissed off. I think we were retweeting each other, or we're always sort of like melding on Twitter, you and me. But I think, one question is, other than the packs of people next to each other, if it's a market, how different is it than a grocery store, which they're all remaining open and people need to get their food? So right. I don't know. The other thing that troubled me was that it was the same photograph everywhere. If this thing was so out of control, why aren't there multiple videos and photographs from market yesterday?
Yeah. What else? What's the new other conspiracy? You want to get into conspiracies? There's some cool ones. Okay. So there was one photograph taken
on my part, man.
So there's supposedly China hit 21 million deaths. 21 million cell phones have been shut off. They're hiding at least 6 million deaths. You'd think from space we could see that pit of bodies, wouldn't you think?
You think there's some things called satellite images.
Yeah. Yeah, just the cremation pollution would have made China not change at all, but yet it's cleaned up. Oh, that's another thing. I hope to God the environmentalists are taking samples right now, because the planet's cleaning up.
Yeah.
And now prove, oh, by the way, if we stop the shit, it fixes it. That'd be awesome. I hope there's a smart climatologist wearing a mask, but doing it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. What's your, because you're a really smart guy, you're an incredibly funny guy, but you're also a really smart guy. And you're always researched, you're always looking shit up like we are. And I wonder what, as of today is what, April 74th, I think.
Yes. Yes.
As we're heading into April, what is your, first thought when I say, what's your 1 to 10 level of optimism that this thing is that we're going to flatten the curve within a month?
Man, it would take, here's the problem. We don't have, I am uneducated, just to be honest. I barely got out of high school. That being said, knowing that about me, I go to extra effort when I want to learn something to really research it.
Yeah.
The only thing that works, and if you look at the South Korean model, the only fucking thing that works, and people don't get this, is stop, stay home, test, and separate. You have to test. You know, the reason Ebola got shut down by the Obama administration is because instantly they sent everybody to the hotspot. They sent 10,000 troops, which that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
They locked everybody down. They tested, separated the guys that had it, that were Americans. They flew back to the CDC and they cured them or they died. But they never let it get into the population. And this, excuse my language, but douchebag waited 72 days to do anything. Ray and I were going over it. My lovely wife were going over it this morning. It almost seems like a Lex Luthor plan when you look down at, besides taking apart the pandemic team, and Bolton shut down some other stuff. Then they shut down the mobilization crew. Like it's not just one thing he did. It's like this list, this Lex Luthor list of bullshit that he did, that the only thing that could have happened was this, you know? And I think what I love about Americans is that, you know, we've been taught our whole lives, manifest destiny, we're in charge. You know, we got this, we have you can set your destiny. Well, I think we have to do that now. You want to stop this? Stop doing everything. Yeah. It's not okay to go out, hang out, go get your food, go home. If we do that, we'll all get back to work. The engine will start up again, we'll get rolling. If you don't, we're going to be in this shit for 7 to 8 months. That's what's going to happen, because we've seen models. It's not like this just happened. South Korea made it.
It's not some model we can follow and say, look, okay, based upon population versus our population, and look at, it's just science. It's just data. You have to be a fucking moron asshole to just dismiss it, right?
There you go. This is why we can never be politicians, because that's the speech that you and I would give. Listen up, douchebags, and you'd be like, you got to be a moron asshole.
The tip of the iceberg. I can never be a politician, but I don't know, man. This is I will say this, at this incredibly odd, bizarre time, I say this in every chat I have with everyone I speak to, whether it's for this little show or just in conversation with people. The number one thing is gratitude. I'm so grateful that my experience is the experience that I'm having, which is that I'm not alone. I'm not being forced to go to work. I'm not sick. Nobody that I love has contracted the virus. Yeah, like my list of ways that I'm grateful are just through the roof. And also, during such a bizarre experience, having people like you to read your take on things is so not just entertaining, but it's just helpful. It's like sometimes I wake up, or more importantly, after I've had a few drinks at night, and I'm starting to think, what the fuck? How can people still think this or believe that? And then I'll see one of your tweets, because you're up late too, and I'll just go, okay, there's somebody else who gets it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, I guess we have to be careful not to actually, because we are circling the wagons with a bunch of like-minded people. Although I will say those like-minded people that I follow, you, a bunch of other people, that they seem to be, there is a constant thread of normalcy and sanity in them. That's what I like. Yeah. You know, you can always tell, I've learned this with stand-up, and you know, with performing, you know, with playing, that when you're off and you're not being authentic with them, it'll work. So the songs are still killer, but you know that the show isn't right. Same with me. If I'm off and I'm not being honest with them, and I think the same thing comes across, you know, and Twitter's just Twitter, man. We all know it doesn't really mean anything, but it does give me a sense of, oh God, like, thank God, I agree with you. Thank God there's some people out there that it's not all nuts. And that little shot of dopamine every time, oh, I got another like, it's pathetic.
Yeah. The only thing,
by the way, Richard, wait, let me finish. I'm really glad everything's going well for you. I'm really glad that you're appreciative of all that, how amazing your hair, your wife, your house. It's awesome. I'm glad. Good for you. Our heater broke up here in the snow. So I'm going to go home. We're going to go back to LA, I think, in a couple of days. We've got some friends that are up in the LA, kind of LA government, and they're saying that everything's okay. you know, a quote from them, they said, "We'll tell you." So we're going to go home to LA, do our job there. I think Josh Wolf and I are going to take some food to some hospitals and stuff, and for the staff. I can't believe this. This is, dude, how crazy is it that he said that the nurses are taking masks out the back?
And that's what I was just about to say. Here's the thing. Here's the only thing I would disagree with you about anything you've said today is that, yes, in the big scheme of life, Twitter is bullshit. It's just this sort of frivolous thing, right? Except when you have a world leader, this particular world leader, who uses that as a propaganda machine.
True.
Rallies. More importantly, it's not just the shit that he tweets. It's that he's deliberately rallying a false sense of outrage against the wrong people that I think is dangerous. That is that's the only thing where I go, and I get serious about it, and I go, this is fucking dangerous. This is a level of propaganda. I mean, sometimes he tweets things that are absolutely accurate, and it's fine. But
no, he doesn't. That was nice, though. I don't know why you wanted to give him a compliment, but no, he doesn't.
I wasn't giving him a compliment. I was just trying to. However, so much of what he puts out there on that machine, on that platform, is doing so much damage because he's rallying up, he's misinforming people, and he's rallying up the worst of this country to feel stronger about the bullshit that they actually are spewing. And that to me is dangerous.
You're right. Cat and dog videos, innocent and fine. Dictator lying to millions of people is you're right. You're absolutely right. And here's the thing I don't get about the guy. So you and I are just normal people. I'm not super educated. I barely got out of high school. I'm a good writer, but whatever. I don't understand how this man has the vocabulary of a fourth grader. Like honestly, you and I are going to do something real quick. I'm going to let you riff a speech. You're going to riff a speech about the pandemic right now. You want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
You go first.
All right. To the American people, we're in a situation right now that's pretty bad. Although I did take a long time, 72 days to get moving, I wasn't really aware how devastating this was going to be to our society. There's bad news and there's good news. The good news is we are mobilizing with the entire country moving right now. Everybody's going to get what they need as soon as they can get it. I've invoked the Defense Production Act, and it is getting done. That being said, the worst case scenario is we may lose 200,000 people. So I need you to stay in your homes. I need you to stay locked up, and I need you to stay safe. God bless America. How hard is that? Like, dude, that's not hard at all.
And the only thing I would maybe add to it is.
I like it. Good, you're gonna pitch on my speech.
The only thing I would add, I wish, forget that he would say. I wish that he had even had the ability within his narcissism to actually think this, to say, listen, this is not about what I think or my hunches. We have to listen to the scientists and the doctors. They know there's so much we don't know. This thing is unfolding differently every day, and we're trying to stay ahead of it. But you know what? Don't trust your gut. Listen to the experts, because they're going to steer us in the right direction. That's all. If he just said that, I would be like, thank you for telling us that. Instead of, but I've got a hunch.
Yeah, his hunch got us. His hunch has now have us locked in our house. There's a deadly pandemic that's going to kill 200,000 people. In a good scenario,
yeah,
and our jobs are over. That's what his hunches have got us. It's, you know.
But
I'm glad you're okay, Richard.
That was a great speech. Yeah, no, I know. Stop it. That was a great speech. You would kick Biden's ass with that speech right now.
But that's the whole thing, is that like you watch Cuomo and you realize we've forgotten. My wife and I talk about this all the time. Is every time someone, even Pence can walk to the mic and just speak from his head. He does. He speaks in complete. Like, we have a president that's a three-year, 3-month run-on sentence.
Yeah.
There's no punctuation in this motherfucker. And when you get someone like Cuomo, and even at the low end, Pence, you go, oh right, someone who can speak in complete sentences. It's sad that that's our bar now, is that guy. I don't know what to do about it, man. I wish. And you and I are going to get anybody who tunes into this, which is always funny. If you know we already don't like the guy, why would you tune into anything we do?
Right.
Exactly. But they do. and they're gonna be mad. But I always ask them, you really want to piss off someone who supports this guy? Ask them to back him up. Just go, hey, okay, I go, give me
Tell us
three.
what he's done that's so great.
Yeah. Give me 3 things he's done well. The
Yeah,
economy.
you do
Nope.
it, you do it, and then I just see the.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck you, Slam.
I'm gonna just keep annoying you with how well I'm doing.
Sorry. You know what it is? At the end of the day, it's your hair. It's like you don't get to have all that and that hair. I know I have an issue with it. I need to go to therapy for it because it bothers me a little bit.
Dude, you got great hair.
No, man, this is wrong. My eyebrows, I am mission critical on my eyebrows right now. You know, it's been what, 3 weeks, and I'm falling apart.
I'm telling you, when this is all over, I will have my mullet back, and you can mock me endlessly.
The mullet, you're the only dude that looks good in it. And ask Daisy. Does Daisy think so?
Daisy loves my hair getting longer, yeah.
Yeah, you were the only dude that looked good in the mullet. Nobody
every time one of my sons will text me a picture that they'll find on the internet of me with massive mullet, looking like just so ridiculous. I'll show Daisy, and she'll go, "Oh my God, it's so fucking hot."
She's awesome. By the way, I laugh. So you tweet stuff sometimes that I burst out laughing. There was something, and it had to do with her. You tweeted yesterday something about, and this proved to me. I thought of it this morning. All men are always 7th grade boys, and all girls are they're college graduates. You tweeted, name the Elvis movie, and I'll give you the name of the character he played.
I went, I have an idea. This is really what happened. And I follow this Elvis fan account, and I have a lifelong sort of obsession with Elvis, and I've known so many people that knew him. I never get to meet him, but I know so many people that worked with him and knew him, and I was a huge Elvis fan. And Daisy knows this about me, and so it started with me seeing this thing of Elvis from a movie, and I thought, I think I know every character name from all 29 of his movies. So I said, baby, I have an idea just to pass the time. You name the movie, and I'll tell you the name of the character he played. And she went, I have an idea. Let's get divorced.
And that's a badass alpha chick. That's hilarious. I laugh so hard because I realize I do the same thing. I'm a big Prince fan, or and I'll be like, oh, remember Musicology? That's Fortune. And she'll just look at me like, I don't know what you're talking about. Or movies. My wife goes, everyone's like, no, I hate movies. Who hates movies? You know, and so I'll know all these things about Tarantino films, and she's just like, I don't want to be around you. The look on her face is one of just hatred. So when I saw it, I realized all men were 7th grade boys. I got something. Look what I can do. I can name all the characters in the Elvis movie, and all women are just like,
my contribution to the pandemic is that I could name all the Elvis character names in all his films.
That's awesome.
Since we're giving props, and Rachel is so brilliantly funny in her own right and has a great career on her own. But a lot of people don't know how funny Daisy Fuentes is. And this became a tweet as well, but it began in a conversation. We were talking to some people, and the subject of nicknames came up or something. And this woman who we were sitting with said, yeah, like Richard, like, how do you get Dick from Richard? And Daisy went, say it.
You asked really nicely.
You asked really nicely.
Well, isn't it great? See, I think we have both found women that are our Gracie Allens, that are smarter than us, that know where the funny is more than we do.
Oh, yeah.
And they just help out, I think we really got lucky. We really got lucky.
We have these incredible partners who make us laugh. That's the greatest.
Yeah. How are you guys doing how's the relationship doing? And we should actually do a book on pandemic relationship tips, because how are you holding up in the pandemic? In your relationship, because some people can't hang together. We travel together and we perform together, so I think we're doing great. She's my best friend, so I'm really lucky. Again, let me tell you how good it is for me, Richard. I'm up in my cabin in the snow, and I have an amazing woman. My eyebrows are out of control, and I have 2 little puppies that are great.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. I'm so thankful.
Yeah. I mean, this is really not that different. That we're pretty much loners. We get together. We don't socialize that much. We really enjoy each other's company. So this is in a twisted way. I even hesitate to say it out loud because I don't want to minimize this experience for all these other people. But my particular situation, when it comes to with whom I'm quarantined, could not be better. In that this is the person I want to spend every second of the day with anyway.
Right.
We're not getting on each other's nerves. We're talking about stuff like we always do. We're enjoying in a way. We're sort of like, to get serious for a second, like, and maybe you guys travel together and perform together a lot. Daisy comes with me on tour, and I'll come with her when she's working sometimes. But there is also these chunks of time. There are also these chunks of time where I am away for a week or 2 weeks or whatever. And we met later in our lives. So every minute that we can be together is really precious for us because we missed so much before.
Right.
And so to us, this is sort of like, we're both home and we both get to be together, and our family is healthy and our friends are good. And so we're actually just sort of grateful for the time to be together. And, again, let me annoy you with how happy.
No, man. But see, that was heartfelt. The other one was like, I just want, I'm really appreciative of everything. Yeah, that was really heartfelt. And by the way, behind you, the pillow, was those designed off the game Pac-Man?
It looks like it, right?
I just pictured squicker.
It's a great idea because I was actually missing. Remember the game? Remember the wooden maze game with the steel ball?
Yeah.
I was like, I actually tweeted. I was like, I trade my fucking Grammy for that game right now.
I saw that.
And this, if I just wound up a little thing, I could actually kind of do the.
Maybe. Rachel said, I always tell people on stage, I say it sometimes, is that, by the way, get rid of that first marriage because the second one is awesome, and then I get off stage and Rachel goes, you're my first marriage. I was like, shit.
Oh,
that's a valid point.
Never mind.
Yeah, sorry, didn't mean it.
We'll give Rachel a big hug, and let's make sure we get together when this fucking craziness is over. And
yeah, same to Daisy, man. And dude, thanks for doing this. This idea, social distancing. I was even pissed that you came up with it first, and also when I saw it, I was like, oh man, we all need that. We need to see everybody getting together and stay connected. People stay connected somehow. The phone, go to Zoom. Skype, but stay connected. I called my sister in Sweden. Sweden, by the way, they social distance. Swedes are very disciplined. They social distanced. They caught it early. They're testing and separating, and the fucking country's still working.
Yeah.
We need to get smarter as a country. So people. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, my brother. It's great talking to you as always, man.
By the way, the reason I really started doing the show was because I wanted people to see how good my hair looks.
It's honestly maddening. It's fucking maddening. Stop. Don't. And then you put through it and your hand gets stuck because it's so thick. Weird, dude. I don't. And you just kind of naturally. I'm just gonna flip. Listen, it's all right. I can do it with my eyebrows right now.
If it's comforting to you at all, I'm like 3 days away from looking like Liberace's mother. And stay safe and healthy. And
just I'm learning Hazard on my guitar right now. I'm actually learning Hazard on my guitar.
Oh shit, we have to do a duet.
Give me a fit. No, we would do not. And okay, I'll do that with you, and then you go up and we'll do a comedy team thing. Me and you. Got a question. You wrote something about that song. I have a question because I listened to a song. I saw the reason I searched Hazard because I was like, I saw your tweet about someone had said like you're a killer or something.
Yeah.
Or something, they were giving you shit about Syria, and you were like, yeah, that's right. I wrote a song after I killed somebody. I thought it was a really funny tweet. So I went to that. What is the song about? Where did you come up with that?
Dude, it was just this music. I woke up in the back of the tour bus in 1990. And
that's a sentence a lot of us have had.
True. That's true. And I was alone, which was interesting. And this piece of music I could hear the whole record. There were no lyrics, but I heard this whole very dark, right? Very ominous. And then kind of a release with the almost like a little breath of fresh air and then back. So I lived with that piece of music for weeks, and I was like, what the fuck am I going to write to this? And then I just thought, maybe I could pull off a story song. And then it became, because of the minor key sort of model and vibe about it, I thought maybe it's a murder mystery. And so I just got, dude, I swear to God, the more I worked on that song, I thought it was such a piece of shit. I thought it was so stupid. But I played the demo for a couple of people and they flipped out, and it was very different than anything I'd ever done. It was very different than anything that was on the radio, but I never expected it to be a single. The label loved it and put it out as a single. And the next thing I knew, it was a huge hit. And to this day, 30 years later, I get people like, you know, what was that song about, man? Like, who was like, I don't fucking know. I wrote it as an unsolved mystery. I never thought about that.
It has the right amount of obtuse in it to where you're like, and you're right, the release of the chorus when it goes, I'll have to die, mother. There's, when I hear it, I always hear like, you're in trouble in the verse, and then the chorus, you can see how much you really cared about the girl. Like, a great song is everybody has their own interpretation, and as artists, we can create good things. You know, you create something awesome, and then that's the one you don't like, but that's the one everybody loves.
Well, I grew to love it, and I love singing it live now. Maybe it's one of my favorite songs in the show every night because people sing along with it, and people like, the minute I even say, this is a song I wrote about a girl who got murdered in Nebraska, so let's party! It's kind of amazing how, like, all these years later, that's one of the songs in my show every night that people get so excited to hear, and people still come up to me in restaurants, well, not right now, but, you know, they'll come up to me and ask me about that song, and I'm really proud of that song. So I love that you mentioned it, and I'd love that you're going to learn it.
I'm already learning it. Well, I'll get a question about Don't Mean Nothing too. So Don't Mean Nothing, obviously, that's the one when you dropped it, you knew that was the monster. You knew that was your A-bomb, right? Or did you not know?
No.
You just another song you wrote.
Dude, I swear, this sounds like such a bullshit answer, but I've never written a song that I thought was a hit when I wrote the song. I write a lot. I've always been pretty prolific, and I write a lot of songs, and I only finish the ones that I think are good, that I would enjoy hearing. And and I produced all my records, so it's always been really fun for me to take something that I hear in my head and try to get it through the speakers. And most of the time, it comes out hopefully better than what I was in my head.
Right.
Don't Mean Nothing was so simple. It was just this fun guitar riff oriented piece of music that I wrote with a dear friend of mine named Bruce Gaich. And even though he's the first to tell you this, I am such a fucking hack guitar player. And I get to work with these great guitar players like Bruce, and Bruce is this monster guitar player. But that was actually my riff. I just sang it to him. And he went, dude, that's a fucking great guitar riff.
Yeah, right? And
then we just worked on the music, you know, wrote itself. And then it just sort of became this, again, sort of a little bit of a semi-autobiographical story of just being in my line of work. I'd been rejected by every label, and, you know, I had already written Endless Summer Nights and Should've Known Better, and like, you know, those were getting rejected by every label. And
wow, really?
Yeah. So it was right after I got my record deal, finally. And the only reason I got a record deal was because of this amazing man named Bruce Lundvall, who he liked everything that everybody else hated, and he liked me, and he liked what I did. And so after I had the record deal, I turned that song into a sort of like a fuck you kind of song that I think became universal.
Yeah.
And then I look back at it, and I go, I was 22 years old when I wrote Don't Mean Nothing. How did
wow. How bitter were you about the show business at 22?
People wonder why I'm an asshole now. I was an asshole when I was 22.
It's awesome. You can't stop being who you are. Scorpions are always scorpions, bro. So I actually used to drive around. I was driving to these nightmare gigs. And when that song came out, I remember, because you get rejected, and I was getting rejected by bars that were paying me $25 for a set. You know, I was getting rejected at the shittiest places.
Right.
And I remember you ever hear a song that you like so much that you have to learn the lyrics to?
Sure, of course.
That was like the Bruce Springsteen Nebraska album. I know everything. That when that album came out, I would drive around, listen to it, and Don't Mean Nothing was one of those ones. To this day, I was actually asking my wife. I was walking around 2 days ago singing it. Because I hate show business. I love being in show business, but I hate the business of show. I really can hate it.
We must mock it.
Huh? Yeah, but it's awesome. So you didn't know? Is that your biggest song? Is that the biggest one?
No, but it was
No.
the one that changed everything for me. It was like I'd already had a little success as a songwriter for other people, but that was the song that just, especially, and I started at rock radio, so the rock community embraced it before the pop community did, and it was just sort of like it set me off to the races. But no, that like this Right Here Waiting is probably my biggest copyright. It's and there's some other ones, but Don't Mean Nothing holds such a special place in my heart. And whenever somebody, even if it's not somebody that I'm friendly with, anybody that mentions Don't Mean Nothing, I was just there like, oh, because I'm so grateful for that song. I'm so grateful that
We're not friendly, douchebag. We're friends.
okay, whatever.
I'm friendly.
I didn't want to overstep, man.
We're actually over the internet now, hanging out.
I didn't want to overstep. I didn't want to place my view of our friendship.
No, I'm calling it out, man.
All right.
All right, brother. The reason I'm asking all these music questions is my daughter, and thank you again for her single Buttercup for putting it out. She's
really talented.
She got a deal for distribution. She just wrote a song called "The Devil Is a Dylan" about these guys she's dated. The Devil Is a Dylan, and they produced one of the guys that worked with Adele. They just produced it.
No shit.
Yeah. So
no, I told you this. I told you this when you played me some of her stuff. She's got it. She's unique. She's sound. Her influences are exactly what they should be right now, but she is totally her own animal. She has got her own sound. She's really good.
What's the advice? She's afraid, she's afraid of live performing. She gets really nervous. And I told her, I said, you ain't making money on the record anymore. The only way you're going to make money is to get on that stage and make people want to come see you. I said, they're going to steal your music. I go, and so any advice on life? Did you have to learn it, or were you already a performer? Because
I learned it after. I was not a guy who played in bands or anything like. I was a studio guy. I had to learn how to become a performer. Essentially, after I did a few club gigs, but trying to get a deal. But really, my performing career kicked in way after I got a record deal. It was like baptism by fire, and she's got to do that. She has to create an ability to be able to perform for music for people, whether it's 5 people or 5,000 people or 50,000 people. Now more than ever, you can't not perform. You got to perform. And yeah, a lot of people, I was scared shitless too, but it's like anything else. The more you do it and the more confident you become, then it becomes a thing where there's this switch that happens where you go, oh, now I can't live without this. I need to do this. I think that we didn't really talk about, totally. We didn't talk about this yet, but I'm definitely not somebody that is like freaking out like this about not performing for 3 weeks, but it is weird. Like, it's weird to not be doing gigs. I know it is for you too. And it's, like, if this thing drags on a whole lot longer than we think, there will come a point where I'm going to be like, what the fuck? I need to play. It's heroin, man. It's like, it's that thing of that connection with people, and it's so loving, and it's such a celebration, and it's such a beautiful thing that we get to do, that we get to have. I tell people, you know what I do for a living? I go out in front of a bunch of people and they fucking love me for 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's my job.
We do meet and greets after the shows, and there's a line, and people come up and go, dude, thank you for doing this. I'm like, what? Thank you?
Yeah,
it's really horrible when 150 people come by and go, we love you.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Yeah, thank you, really put me out. And they all look at me like, oh, I never thought of it like that. That's exactly how it is.
Well, here's the other analogy that I make that people forget about all the time. If you take, and I think that we are like-minded in that we recognize the value of what we bring and what we do, and that people do need to be entertained, and we are really dedicated to our craft, and we want to be the best fucking performers and creators that we can be. That said, I think we're also like-minded in that compared to firefighters and scientists and cops and right, this is a kind of like a laughable joke in comparison.
Yes.
But what I've said to people is, other than an athlete, name a job of any kind where you get applauded every day. Every time you go to work, people go like this.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, to call it around is that it's really cool to see people in New York applauding the shift change on the
Yeah,
healthcare.
did you see that?
It's really cool. It's like that's what we need. You know, it's so funny. We don't think of those people all the time because, you know, we live in a clean society. We're fairly healthy. But when something like this happens, 9/11, this, whatever, they do need applause more. They do need applause more. You're right. What you and I do, we're the clown show.
Yeah,
People,
totally.
the people that make it work, we got to remember to applaud them too, man. That's a great way to end this, I think.
Yes, I love it. All right, you be in touch and stay safe, my brother.
All right, tell Daisy I said hi, and I'll say the same to Rachel. See you, brother.
See you, pal.
Okay.